Hello everybody, welcome back to 3D Cartoon Review. At the end of that fierce confrontation in the city of the ancient demons, Wang Lin had shattered the gates, crushed Mo Lihai's resistance, and taken 13 back from his grasp. In the aftermath, not only had Mo Lihai obediently returned 13, he had also bestowed upon Wang Lin a higher position, hoping to bind this terrifying cultivator to his side. After hearing all of Mo Lihai's promises and flowery words about the future, Wang Lin simply gave a faint nod. His gaze was as calm and cold as still water as he looked at Mo Lihai and said quietly, "3 months from now I will return." Without another word, his figure blurred. With a wave of his sleeve he took 13 with him, and the two vanished from Mo Lihai's sight like ghosts dissolving into the night. Not long after, Wang Lin brought 13 back to the soul-refining tribe. The moment he stepped into the sky above the tribe, countless figures below looked up. From Ah Yunghua down to the very last clansman, they all felt that familiar, terrifying aura. One after another they dropped to their knees, their voices merging into a thunderous chant. "Welcome back, ancestor!" The sound rolled like a wave across the entire tribe, filled with fear, reverence, and a desperate hope for protection. Suspended in midair, Wang Lin only gave a faint nod. His expression did not change. Without any unnecessary words, he turned into a ray of light and flew straight toward the military encampment, the wind swirling around him as he disappeared into the depths of the tribal camp. 3 days passed in silence. On the 3rd day, Wang Lin finally awakened 13, who had been unconscious since the battle. 13 opened his eyes to see the familiar, emotionless face of his master. Before he could speak, Wang Lin calmly informed him of the news. Zhipeng was missing. More troubling than that, Wang Lin could no longer sense Zhipeng's soul at all. In the past, as long as Zhipeng's soul existed within a certain range, Wang Lin could feel a faint connection through his soul cultivation techniques. Now, that faint line had been completely severed. To someone as cautious as Wang Lin, this could only mean 2 possibilities. Either Zhipeng had already perished, or he was being held in a place so strange and isolated that even soul sense could not reach him. Wang Lin stood there silently for a long time, his brows slightly furrowed. The flicker in his eyes was not emotion, but calculation. After a while, he lifted his right hand and took out a jade slip. The words etched upon it read, "Gigantic Spirit 9 Cultivations, a physical cultivation method capable of tempering the body to terrifying extremes." He pondered for a breath, then sent his divine sense into the jade slip. Within, layers of cultivation methods shone like lines of light. Quietly, Wang Lin erased the last 3 layers, leaving only the first 6. He then handed the jade slip to 13. The first 6 levels are enough for now, he thought. The later stages were too overbearing. In 13's current state, they would only lead to self-destruction. 13 received the jade slip with trembling hands. Even without fully understanding its depth, he could feel the heavy, ancient aura emanating from it. His heart surged with emotion. He dropped to his knees, heavily kowtowed, and swore a solemn oath to follow Wang Lin for life, to remain loyal even unto death. Wang Lin watched him, his gaze inscrutable. Loyalty was never measured by words, but he accepted the vow in silence. Far away, in an ancient battlefield shrouded in mist and resentment, Zhipeng sat cross-legged. Around him, hundreds of soul banners fluttered in a wind that did not exist. Each banner was dark and eerie, engraved with countless struggling faces. Whispers of resentment, hatred, and despair circled him like a storm of souls. Opposite Zhipeng stood an old man clad in black robes, his features hidden in shadow. It was he who had pulled Zhipeng out of that terrifying dark prison. The old man watched Zhipeng closely. After a while, his hoarse voice sounded, quietly cutting through the suffocating atmosphere. "Your former master has just arrived at Ancient Demon City to rescue 13. I was 1 step too late." The words hung in the air like a hook. Zhipeng's eyes flickered with a complicated light. Within his gaze, hatred and humiliation tangled together. After a moment of silence, his lips twisted into a cold smile. "Once I refine all the soul fragments here," he said slowly, "the very first thing I'll do is take Wang Lin's life." His tone was calm, but deep beneath that calm was a seething madness. Then he lowered his head slightly and muttered to himself, voice filled with bitter resentment, "You passed divine abilities to me, but your heart was unfathomable. If it wasn't because of you, I would never have been thrown into that dark prison. I waited. I believed you would come and save me. But you never appeared. That hope rotted and turned into hatred. I swear I will never be anyone's servant again. Not yours, not anyone's." His oath echoed in the gloomy battlefield. The black-robed old man watched him, and in his shadowed eyes a hint of satisfaction appeared. Without another word, he turned and left, his figure drifting away like smoke. Left alone amid the soul banners, Zhipeng clenched his fists. 13. "Only you could still be deceived by him," he whispered, almost laughing at himself. "In Wang Lin's eyes, I was always a disposable pawn. Fine. Let's see. When I command millions of soul phantoms, when the sky itself darkens with their shadows, let's see how you resist me then, Wang Lin." His words faded into the chorus of ghostly wails. At that same time, the black-robed old man traveled to a towering black pagoda with 10 levels, rising like a spear piercing the heavens. Inside, the air was frigid and heavy. He entered a dim hall and knelt before a set of ancient armor that stood upright but empty. No body, no soul, only a hollow shell. Yet within the helmet, 2 ghostly will-o'-the-wisps pulsed faintly, like eyes opening in the dark. The old man bowed deeply, his voice filled with respect and fear. "I have important news to report. Your Majesty, Demon Emperor, the breakthrough you attempted 1,000 years ago is still being suppressed even now." As his words fell, the ancient armor trembled slightly. A wave of icy spiritual intent swept across the hall, like a blizzard rolling down from a mountain peak. Information, commands, and unspoken anger poured into the old man's divine sense. After receiving that message, the black-robed old man bowed again and slowly retreated from the hall. As he walked away from the Black Tower, his eyes narrowed, thoughts turning around Zhipeng. "That Zhipeng is nothing more than an experiment," he mused coldly. "If his soul cultivation can truly merge with my own technique, if he can compress all his potential into a single hour, then I can shape him into a terrifying weapon, a demon guard worthy of the master." With that chilling thought, he vanished into the shadows. Back at the soul-refining tribe, Wang Lin quietly released Yao Xixue from her restraints. The seals on her body loosened just enough for her to stand and speak. She glared at him, proud and unyielding even in captivity. Wang Lin looked at her, eyes calm, and gave her a chance. "Answer a few of my questions," he said flatly. "Do that, and I will grant you 50 years of freedom." 50 years! For cultivators like them, not a terribly long time, but far from insignificant. However, Yao Xixue gave a cold, mocking laugh. Her gaze was filled with icy arrogance. "You dare bargain with me?" she snapped. "My father will come. When he arrives, he'll take your life." Her tone was absolute, as though it were already decided by the heavens. Wang Lin's expression did not ripple in the slightest. His voice remained indifferent, like a knife slicing through cloth. "You have just lost your second opportunity." The instant his words ended, he moved. His hand struck like lightning. Before Yao Xixue could react, he reached into her mouth with spiritual force and drew out a tiny red needle, glimmering faintly with a sinister light. He held it between his fingers, his eyes turning cold and sharp. "You intended to use this final trace of essence to commit suicide," he said softly. Yao Xixue's face blanched. Her carefully hidden plan shattered in an instant. The hatred in her heart erupted like fire breaking through a thin layer of ice. Rage and unwillingness surged so intensely that her mental state underwent a sudden leap, as if she had found a path of cultivation based on hatred itself, using hatred to enter the Tao. Wang Lin's senses were razor-sharp. He saw the change as clearly as a flare in the night. A faint, mocking smile touched his lips. "It seems," he murmured, "the restrictions on you are still far too light." His right hand moved, weaving complex seals in the air. In an instant, countless restrictions fell onto Yao Xixue's body like chains forged from light. At the same time, he sealed the blood meridians in her body, cutting off her path to self-destruction and greatly limiting her strength. Now, no matter how much she struggled, it would be nothing more than helpless thrashing inside an unbreakable cage. Yao Xixue's eyes were filled with madness and despair, but Wang Lin did not look at her again. With a casual flick of his wrist, he threw her back into his storage bag, letting darkness swallow her screams. After dealing with her, Wang Lin sat down in silence. His thoughts shifted to the journey ahead. The trip to Heavenly Monster County this time will be riddled with danger, he pondered. But it is also the fastest path for me to become a demon general. Danger and opportunity were twins that always walked together. His expression sharpened as he formed hand seals, carefully preparing for the perilous road awaiting him in Heavenly Monster County. He examined his own cultivation, his treasures, his techniques, considering every possible threat and countermeasure. Only after he had prepared to his satisfaction did he close his eyes again. Time flowed. 2 months passed in the blink of an eye. As the appointed date drew close, Wang Lin summoned Aoyang. His voice, calm yet carrying an unquestionable authority, sounded in the hall. From now on, send people into every tribe, he ordered. Spread soul cultivation. This is the second part, soul extraction art. Only teach it to the main bloodline. His gaze hardened slightly. From today onward, the soul-refining tribe no longer needs to hide. When I return, I hope our population will have surpassed 1 million. Aoyang trembled, both from excitement and fear. 1 million members practicing soul cultivation. What sort of terrifying tribe would that be? Wang Lin withdrew the main soul banner and with a movement of his hand, released a vast number of wandering souls. They swirled around him, howling softly, before being drawn into the flags he left behind. He handed several sub-banners to Aoyang and 13 to manage. With that done, he turned without hesitation, transforming into a streak of light rushing toward ancient demon city. Upon arriving there, Wang Lin went straight to find Mo Lihai. Night had already fallen when the two men finally sat down to talk. Within the quiet hall, lit by dim lanterns, Mo Lihai's expression was grave as he explained the situation. Every 300 years, Heavenly Monster County held a grand competition, the Great Demon General Tournament. It was a brutal, ancient tradition, one that determined military power and status for centuries. But this time, Mo Lihai said solemnly, this great competition is different from the past. Many forces have set their eyes upon it. The stakes are far higher. He fixed his gaze on Wang Lin. That is why I need your full support. If we succeed, both of our positions will rise dramatically. Silence fell between them for a moment. Wang Lin lowered his head slightly, eyes thoughtful. Then he stood, clasped his fists and bowed. Rest assured, General, he said slowly. This Wang will give his full strength to aid you. Mo Lihai's face broke into a hearty smile. He laughed loudly, the tension in the hall easing. Brother Wang, he said with genuine warmth, then it's decided. It's time we set off now. Soon after, they walked side by side to a transmission array. Under Mo Lihai's control, the formation lit up. Lines of light intertwined, forming a bright vortex. In the next instant, the world blurred. A sharp flash of light engulfed them, and both figures disappeared. A short while later, in a military region filled with rows upon rows of demon soldiers standing at attention, 2 beams of light appeared high in the sky. The lights descended and dispersed, revealing Mo Lihai and Wang Lin stepping forward shoulder to shoulder. Their arrival drew countless gazes. From there, Mo Lihai personally invited Wang Lin back to his residence in Hong City. On the way, 19 elite cavalrymen thundered toward them on war horses. These were the close guards of Mo Lifeng, one of Mo Lihai's trusted men. They dismounted and bowed with military precision. Mo Lihai introduced Wang Lin with a smile. This is General Wang, my good friend. Seeing him is the same as seeing me. The 19 cavalrymen immediately clasped their fists and shouted in unison. Greetings, General Wang. Their respect was formal, but the shock in their eyes was clear. For Mo Lihai to speak such words of trust was no small matter. Mo Lihai then invited Wang Lin onto horseback and said cheerfully, Brother Wang, come. Let's return to my residence and drink fine wine together. The two men laughed, spurring their horses forward along the military road, hooves drumming like thunder. As they rode, the sound of hooves suddenly echoed from the road ahead. Mo Lihai's expression darkened. He narrowed his eyes, then urged his horse to speed up. A moment later, he saw a group approaching, and among them, a man he recognized. Opposite them, riding at the head of another patrol, was Tian. A long scar carved across Tian's face, twisting his former handsomeness into something sharp and vicious. The scar seemed to cut away any trace of softness, leaving only cold cruelty. The moment the two sides drew close, the atmosphere turned taut. Without exchanging any polite words, Mo Li Hai, through Mo Li Feng's fist technique, struck with the intent of the tenfold ice fist. Frosty spiritual power surged, condensing into a chilling fist shadow that roared forward. Across from him, Tian snorted, drawing his weapon. The six-finger demonic sword technique exploded into being, dark sword light screeching through the air to meet the icy fist head-on. The collision was deafening. A massive boom shook the road, sending a shockwave rippling outward. Dust and gravel exploded in every direction. In the aftermath, Tian was forced back 3 steps. Beneath him, his warhorse screamed and was flung away, crashing onto the ground. Yet Mo Li Hai remained firmly seated on his own horse, his body steady and unshaken, entirely unharmed. None of the watching soldiers realized that, in the instant of impact, a slender ray of light had flashed from Wang Lin's hand into Mo Li Hai's mount, reinforcing it and absorbing part of the collision's power. Because of that subtle intervention, Mo Li Hai had taken no injury at all. On the other side, Tian's gaze sharpened. He could tell someone had interfered. He turned his head and stared at Wang Lin. "Outsider," he said coldly. "What is your name?" Before Wang Lin could reply, a thin, gaunt man standing beside Tian spoke up, his eyes widening with disbelief. It was Chen Dao, Wang Lin's senior brother from the same sect. Wang Lin recognized him instantly. At the same time, he could sense that Chen Dao's cultivation had plummeted from mid-ascendant stage all the way down to the peak of soul transformation. The damage was severe, and his aura was unstable. Chen Dao, too, was stunned. The last time they had met, Wang Lin's cultivation had been far weaker. Now, standing before him, Wang Lin's cultivation was at the very peak of soul transformation, his aura deep and unfathomable. The two exchanged a swift conversation through divine sense, their words echoing silently between their minds. Chen Dao explained that he had been gravely wounded by members of the Great Luo sword sect. Before they parted, he warned Wang Lin to be extremely cautious of that sect. They were not to be underestimated. Just as they were about to separate, Wang Lin flicked his sleeve. A small jade bottle flew toward Chen Dao. Inside were healing pills. It was a simple gesture, but it carried sincere goodwill. After Wang Lin and Mo Li Hai departed, Tian turned to Chen Dao and asked slowly, "Your junior brother, how strong is he?" Chen Dao looked in the direction where Wang Lin had vanished and replied with only 4 quiet words. "Strong, very, very strong." Tian's eyes narrowed. He said nothing for a moment, then confessed that he planned to draw Chen Dao into his camp for the Great Demon General Tournament. If Chen Dao helped him, he promised to search for the alchemical materials needed to restore Chen Dao's cultivation. Temptation and ambition intertwined in the air like smoke. Meanwhile, Wang Lin and Mo Li Hai continued on their way. As they rode, Mo Li Hai turned to Wang Lin and spoke with rare sincerity. "Thank you for your help just now." He knew very well that without Wang Lin's hidden support, that clash would not have ended so cleanly. Wang Lin only shook his head slightly, neither claiming credit nor denying it. Eventually, they reached Mo Li Hai's residence, Mo Manor. Wang Lin was arranged to stay within the manor's inner courtyard. Soon after, Mo Li Hai left to pay respects to the Demon Emperor, while Wang Lin focused entirely on a single goal, to obtain the position of Demon General. He entered seclusion and began cultivating a terrifying technique, slaughter immortal art. However, a knot lay in his heart. The core of this art was killing qi, but despite cultivating it for many years, Wang Lin still could not grasp the hidden pattern behind its birth. Up to now, he had managed to condense only 5 strands of killing qi, each one incredibly powerful, but far too few. He sat cross-legged in the courtyard of his temporary residence and cultivated for 7 consecutive days. As those 5 strands of killing qi stirred, a faint, sinister aura seeped outward, unnoticed by him at first. The killing qi drifted beyond the courtyard walls and brushed against the 2 soldiers standing guard outside. Their breathing went ragged, their eyes gradually turned bloodshot, and murderous intent rose in their hearts like a tide. In just a short while, they were on the verge of losing control, nearly falling into a state of qi deviation. At that moment, Wang Lin abruptly opened his eyes. His gaze swept toward the entrance. Just that single glance, infused with his spiritual will, shattered the growing madness in the 2 men's minds. They shuddered violently, cold sweat pouring down, and staggered backwards, terror etched into their faces. Their fear was not only of the killing Qi, but of Wang Lin himself. Wang Lin frowned slightly. Seclusion alone won't be enough, he concluded. To understand killing Qi, I'll need experiments. He rose to his feet and called for the two soldiers. Still trembling, they quickly let him out of the manor as he requested. Wang Lin stepped into the streets of Hong City. The city was bustling with life. Demonic soldiers, merchants, and cultivators of various races moved through the streets. Vendors shouted, children laughed, and the clatter of hooves and wheels echoed among the stone buildings. Yet, walking alone through that noise, Wang Lin felt a familiar sense of solitude wrap around him, as if he were an outsider drifting through someone else's world. Just then, a strand of sound floated across the air. A melancholic melody, thin yet piercing, like a thread of sorrow weaving through the clamor of the city. It was the sound of a zither. Wang Lin paused. His divine sense extended, following the music through the maze of streets until he found himself standing by a wide river. On the water, countless flower boats drifted, lit by lanterns and filled with laughter, shouting, and drunken singing. But among that riot of noise, there was one boat set slightly apart. On its deck sat a lone woman, her back to the shore. She wore simple clothes, her long hair cascading like a waterfall. Her slender fingers danced across the strings of a zither, sending out waves of music filled with grief and loneliness. Her music clashed sharply with the vulgar laughter from the other boats. It did not belong to this noisy, lustful night. Listening from the riverbank, Wang Lin was suddenly transported back through time. The notes of the zither, so mournful and gentle, made him think of Li Muan. Memories rose in his heart of a woman whose presence had once softened the sharp edges of his world, whose smile had been like a quiet spring breeze. The pain of separation, buried deep within him, stirred once more. He did not move closer. He only stood there, hands clasped behind his back, quietly listening as the lonely music flowed over the river, blending with the night wind. And so, under the dim lantern light of Hong City, with laughter on one side and sorrowful music on the other, Wang Lin stood alone by the water, his figure as still as a stone. The melody of the zither echoed in his heart, and the chapter of this moment slowly drew to a close.